Mini episode 584 of the FDH Lounge is brought to you by that NBA Lottery Pick, your pop culture influenced look at the world of hoops. Follow them on the web at thatNBALotteryPick.com.
The FDH Lounge. You want to schedule your life around it.
A long time ago, on a gloomy, wet Cleveland spring night, two men stand alone amidst the late-night drizzle. Their voices echo across the vacant station parking lot as they debate the merits of the great American radio show that have been missing for far too long. On that night, an idea was born. That idea became the FDH Lounge. Welcome to the FDH Lounge.
Welcome to mini episode 584 of the FDH Lounge. This is FDH Managing Partner Rick Morris here with another in our line of TV reviews. This is the second in a series of reviews of critically acclaimed television shows that have completed their run and are available for streaming on either Hulu, Netflix, or Amazon Prime. These reviews are being produced in association with our colleagues in the 21st Century Media Alliance at NotJustAnotherTVSite.com, which covers dozens of the greatest TV series of all time. We will not include spoilers in any of these reviews. The idea is to provide a sense of what you can expect if you decide to view the shows, and as such, we don't want to undermine that experience. Today we're breaking down Short Poppies, a comedy that aired in 2014 on TVNZ On Demand in New Zealand and can be found in its entirety on Netflix. Here are the 5 most notable elements of this franchise. Number 5, comedic actor Rhys Darby plays a different role in every one of the 8 episodes of the program's sole season. The Short Poppies referenced by the show's title refer to average people thought to be doing extraordinary things in a relatively small coastal town in New Zealand. This mockumentary is hosted by real-life entertainment reporter David Ferrier, who works in real life for MediaWorks, the competitor of his employer in this fictional world. Ferrier profiles a different person in each episode, with Darby portraying each of these characters. The range of his performances is enhanced by the fact that they are of various ages, professions, temperaments, and even genders. These are the characters that he portrays through the first 7 episodes. Terry Pohl is a lifeguard who enters sexy legs contests and builds his entire life around his perception of his elite status in that arena. Steve Whittle is a UFO nut who is convinced that alien abduction is a real thing. Ron Taylor is an employee at a fish and chips restaurant who moonlights as a whale watcher and considers himself very successful in that regard. Mary Ledbetter is a mean old bat who writes complaint letters to everyone in town and also leads local groups so that she can bully her fellow enthusiasts in different fields. Bill Napier is a Department of Conservation head ranger who is haunted by the fact that his wife and children have moved to a faraway park. Louise Cooper is a lonely single mother who works as a parking lot attendant and seeks to have her art displayed all over town. Rod Gaynor is a macho lawyer who is a wannabe in the world of exotic cars. In the series finale, Darby portrays Hayden Clark, the show's flamboyant producer, who arranges the footage in a sensational manner. Number 4, the common thread of the show is delusion. In the universe of the mockumentary, each of the characters is thought to be interesting enough to be featured in a separate installment. As a matter of fact, each of them is shown being profiled in a large newspaper article in the opening credits of the program. But each of them is deluded in their own way, whether it be the UFO guy who thinks that he can convince everyone about the viability of alien existence, or the self-important, mean old lady who just can't perceive how much the world hates her. In every episode, David Ferrier is sneaking, "Can you believe this?" looks at the camera, but each installment is different because David, who is a stand-in for the viewers, clearly views them all differently. For the people who are nice, no matter how goofy they may be, it's clear that he feels sympathy for the gap between who they are and who they want to be. For others, like the buffoonish lawyer, Ferrier's visual asides are a bit smugger. But at no time is Ferrier covering somebody with even a decent amount of self-awareness, and watching Darby's characters reveal themselves in full train wreck fashion is always glorious. Number 3. As with the Australian show The Librarians, which we previously reviewed, the characters are fully relatable to an American audience. In this instance, with the landscape of a modest coastal community, some of the archetypes would be familiar to American audiences who have watched TV shows or movies set outside big cities in the U.S. The old lady in particular would ring true to audiences in several countries, notwithstanding the Kiwi accent. While The Librarians wasn't necessarily made with an eye towards streaming to a global audience, set as it was mostly in the last decade, Short Poppies was always envisioned as something that could transcend its narrow setting, since the Netflix deal happened relatively quickly. And Darby came into the series already recognizable to a decent chunk of the American audience thanks to his work on the acclaimed HBO show Flight of the Conchords. If you watched him on that series and thought he'd be funny in other roles, he proves you right in Short Poppies. Number 2. There are some ongoing gags and reappearances with other characters around the periphery of the series that reward you for watching in full. Of course, spending a day in the life of each character necessitates spending time with those around them, their friends, their enemies, their families, local law enforcement, etc. And in a place with a small-town feel, some of these peripheral characters pop up in other chapters and again in the final chapter. Watching them relate to different people in the series differently seems to make the program's universe more three-dimensional, much as one might regard the town of Springfield on The Simpsons. Number 1. Darby's characters are hilarious and compelling in their interactions with one another. With all of these delusional bozos gathered for the finale to screen the story of their lives, the sparks fly as you can appreciate as never before Darby's efforts in crafting these diverse and real personas. Without giving anything away about the ending, the premise of merely holding up a mirror to the lives of these crackpots seems very promising going in, and the presentation goes in another direction. It's a direction we found a bit less desirable than the straightforward one could have been, but it doesn't really detract from the brilliance of the concept of this series or its execution. The mockumentary concept has been heavily played in television in the last decade plus, arguably excessively so. For example, programs like Modern Family emerged at the height of this style on American TV, and seemed a bit contrived in the sense that a fake documentary format may not have been needed for all of them. Few shows, with the American version of The Office and Trailer Park Boys being obvious exceptions, even acknowledge the cameras directly aside from the confessional spots. But with Short Poppies, David Farrier narrates the ongoing drama involving each of these characters, and he interacts with all of them on camera. He's a direct part of the story, even having to diplomatically dodge the advances of the lonely single mother, which adds a fresh spin to the genre. His interplay with each of the characters helps to differentiate them even further, proving how vital chemistry was to this project. If the small community depicted in Short Poppies actually existed, then notwithstanding the beautiful New Zealand scenery, it's not a place you'd want to live since you'd be surrounded by such weirdos. But over the course of 8 sitcoms in the half-hour format, it's a hilarious and entertaining place to visit. Thank you for tuning in to this mini-episode of the FDH Lounge.
As we bring the show to a close, we would like to extend our deepest gratitude to NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, all Clear Channel affiliates, TNT, TBS, USA, UPN, Deadspin.com, YouTube.com, YTMND.com, MySpace.com, various blogs, Fox News, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, IamBoard.com, Billboard.com, Google.com, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPN Classic, NBA TV, NFL Network, Sports Time Ohio, Athlon Magazine, Comedy Central, Cartoon Network, The Boomerang Channel, QVC, BET, The Spice Channel, Steno Notebooks, Manwich, Papermate Office Supplies, waitresses, strippers, bartenders, garbage men, janitors, microwave popcorn, the writers of The Office, Scrubs, Entourage, My Name is Earl, Oz, Metalocalypse and the Boondocks, Aquafina, and the Periodic Table of Elements.